Hey Techno Studs, and when I say studs, I mean both students and you are awesome. Thanks for joining me in these videos. We're gonna get really familiar with Cisco equipment. We're gonna get to know the ins and outs of how to operate this equipment and how to set it up. But let's just get started with just introducing ourselves to this equipment. Let's get familiar with physically how it looks. Let's look at the software and see what the software looks like. Let's also crack one open and take a look at the inside. That's what this module is all about, getting to know the equipment that we're going to be working on. We're going to kick this module off taking a look at both a switch and a router and just taking a look at what they look like. Then we're going to get a little more in depth into a switch, and by understanding the switch we'll also know a little more about routers as well. We're going to talk about how are we going to connect to this equipment. We're going to want to start programming it or setting it up, doing some configurations on it. And to do that we need to connect to it. So we'll learn how to connect to the equipment. And then once we do that, we'll get into the boot up process and take a look at what the boot up process looks like. We'll start looking at the iOS command structure, and we're going to get really familiar with that throughout the rest of the course. We'll take a look at configs and what these config files look like. What are the different config files and where do they live at? And then we'll also identify some of the interfaces, both from a software perspective and also a hardware perspective, and correlate the difference between those hardware and the software interfaces. And then we'll hook up a computer to it and we'll actually start connecting some devices to it. This will be a great starter module to get familiar with the equipment and what you're going to be working with throughout this CCNA study process.